And welcome to the Tiny Artist TV Color Palette Challenge, Color Creation Challenge live stream, yada yada yada. Sorry I'm starting late. Time kind of got away from me as I was working on the sketch because I wanted to make sure I had plenty of time to work on today's piece. As you can see, we're going a little more high fashion than we usually do. Uh, I have a little confession to make. And I don't know how this happened, other than just pure human error. Um, we've seen this color palette before. They're a different name. Um, if it looks familiar to you, it's because it was from the very first character that I did for the color palette challenge. However, somehow I ended up having the same palette under two different names. First one being named, it was Spring Morning, and I did a Luna Moth character. Same palette, different name, under the name of Sweet Limeade. So I guess I just downloaded and saved it twice and just put it under two different names, but here we are. So I figured, you know what, this is a good chance to just do something different with it instead of using a different palette, because I do have a couple of other palettes that I've been saving for other stuff. I already explained this at the beginning. I have a problem. That's why I have 115 plus color palettes saved. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So today is number 73. This is number 73 with the color palette Sweet Limeade / Spring Morning. And what's depicted here, so I was kind of inspired to do something like a frosted flora type situation. So this is going to end up being a depiction of spring and winter to some effect. Just kind of a mystical interpretation of spring and winter. So a lot of these, frosty, icy colors. And I'm still working on the sketch just a little bit, so I'm going to give myself about 10 more minutes to finalize my idea. Mainly sketching out this crown piece here, which, as you can see, is by the creator Frizzaloo, and they have an incredible portfolio of just like their costumes out of this world. They've done costume designs for The Masked Singer, and if you watch that show, like, you know how crazy some of those costumes get. But they did costume design for the French version of Masked Singer. Oh my goodness. Like, if you love over the top costuming and like jewelry design, like, check them out. Like, do yourself a favor, check them out. Crazy. And then this collection, this photo over here, is from the fashion designer Main Rousseau Booker. And I recently stumbled across a fashion industry history page. So they post collections of fashion industry big names and famous looks from across the ages, going back to, I think one of the earliest ones I saw was 16 or 17 century looks, but they do more contemporary stuff 1800s, 1900s, more so. And so, yeah, Booker, who was big, I believe it was in the 60s and 70s, and I just love this composition. It's so dramatic, it's so Renaissance styled, that I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just take some stuff that I like and throw it together. These are both saved under my art inspiration tab. I don't think you can access other people's bookmarks, but that is something that I will be using upcoming in 2024, so you will get a peek into that bookmark of the various designs and poses and things that I have saved for art ideas. But I've rambled on enough. Let me actually get started with the drawing now. And once again, I forgot my water, so I might get up at some point to get my water. I'm okay for now. Let's see. Just forgot kind of this. And I'm gonna alter this just a little bit. I want these leaves to be a little more prominent, so I'm gonna bring them in front of the mesh instead of behind the mesh. But I just want to get the shape of things for now. This is connected to that. I will most likely end up doing both of these figures on different layers just because there's a lot of overlapping line art here, and I want to make sure that I can see and work on everything properly. So yeah, I'll do both figures on their own layer. I do want to give her this big fabulous tulle collar. The shapes in that are like so funky and dramatic and interesting and just like all the good things. So I'll have this come over her dress like so. I'll do a couple layers because there's navy. It's navy and yellow. Obviously, I'm going to be using the colors that I have, but I want there to be that multiple layer interplay there. And I definitely want to tag the creator in this when I'm done, just so that, you know, it's good to not only, of course, credit where your sources come from, but like if that person is still alive, like I think it's really inspiring to like have someone come up to you and say, hey, you did this thing and I thought it was really cool and I wanted to incorporate it in the thing that I do, so here's what I did with it. I hope you like it. Not in like a clout chasey sort of way, but just in a like, I think you're really cool and I wanted to use this to make something else that was potentially cool. So there's that, and I love doing big ruffles, like big dramatic collar. I don't do them enough, but it is something that I like to do when I'm doing like big fashion inspired pieces. Let's see. Let's get these brows, face. I want them to have sort of like solemn expressions. Not necessarily sad, just sort of thoughtful, maybe even like a little pensive. And then as far as this is a drape that I want to include on the dress, and I want to do a belt in the middle here, kind of inspired by this shape. So let's see. Also, sorry if you hear a bunch of clicking. I have my pen on life support today because I forgot to charge it after I got off the string yesterday, and I went into my office to draw today, and it needed some juice. So if you hear any of that, it's just this tapping against the back of the tablet, and I know it's kind of annoying. I'm sorry, but this is the way I have to do it today. So I will try to control that as much as possible. But sometimes when the art starts flowing, the pen starts flying. So we'll just deal with it. Okay, so that will be the attachment. And then I can do some more, like some little gold leaves going around here. Let's see, I said I was going to give myself 10 more minutes for the sketch. I talked for about 5 minutes, so that would take me up to 15 minutes on the timer. We'll see if that's actually enough time. I could potentially just get started on the liner because I think I have a good enough foundation. I just want to make sure that I have any like additional like things that I want to add, so that I don't forget those details while I'm doing the lines. Because sometimes I do improv while I'm doing the line art, but I want to get all of my big ideas out there first. Let's have this come up here, because I think, yeah, let's see. So this is going to be spring. This is going to be winter. Since we're in winter, I wanted her to be kind of the more dramatic of the two, and spring is sort of being her like lady in waiting. And instead of having this arm going behind, I'm going to have this arm sitting in front. And maybe this way I can do a cuff that sort of mimics the crown she's wearing. Yeah, I want to elevate this to a fantasy look and not just like a high fashion look. So we're going to be adding a lot of little bits and bobs. Give her some gloves to keep her hands warm. And do a little bit of embroidery along the edge there. Can do some embroidery on, and here it's a sheer veil, but I want this to be a solid cape with a little decoration along the edge. I love a good little scumbly decoration. It's a really easy way to make something look fancy. You don't have to like really go in and make like filigree unless you want to spend that kind of time. And since I'm trying to get this drawing done in 2 hours, I don't want to spend that kind of time. But if I was doing this like in my free time, I would definitely just put my music on and spend way too much time putting in all the little details. Okay. Do I want to go ahead? I've got about another minute and a half to do any little details that I want to do. Let's see, you've got the bodice here. Let's do this. Just add on to this. I have another place to add some more spring decor. More places to add color. More places to elevate it to a fantasy look. With her, I'm just gonna give her like a small version of this. And then she can have some little pearl decorations. I do want some little like pearly dewdrops in her hair. Kind of like the little like frost or snow that's on plants early in the morning during that time of year. Alright, 15 minutes is up. Let's get started on the line art. And I didn't rasterize my colors, so I gotta do that first. And now let's get started. For this one, I will use textured pen. I'm gonna use like a soft chocolatey charcoal color just to keep things more, kind of more light, a little more ethereal. Is this the right pen? I don't dislike it, but I think it needs to be small. Let's try a 5. See what that looks like. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, this will work. Because again, it's not so scrungly that it's going to be distracting, but it's not so sharp that I have to be like extra precise with some things. Because I want this to have a sort of like soft, lived-in feel. Little bit mystical. Some of these details are probably going to end up going on a auto outline layer. Yeah, because I'm not drawing all of these pearls. I'm going to focus on the big shapes and then do all the little details on their own layer. So I can draw right over these pearls and that'll be fine. A little embroidery here and along the edge here. Yeah, that has a good weight to it, a good variance of shapes happening. I see we have some people who've joined. Hello, welcome to the stream. Feel free to just pop in and say hey, ask me any questions you may have about the process or what's on your mind, which What did you have for lunch? What have you done today? Or maybe this is your morning time. So for me, it is 1:30 p.m. So it's a good middle of the day right now. But I've noticed that less and less of my viewers are from the US. So I'm interested who's watching me in what time zone. And that may be a contributing factor to why when I stream in the mornings, I have more viewers. Because it may be nighttime for them. So they're winding down for the evening. That's what that is. This is a little bit of decor. Yeah, Pennsylvania. Yep. East Coast. Yeah, East Coast here too. I don't know how much I mean, I guess like I'm in North Carolina. That's not going to dox me. North Carolina is a medium, a respectably sized state. As soon as I said big state, my mind was like, no, Texas exists. Texas is a big state. But yeah, North Carolina. So I've been on the East Coast all my life. I'm originally from Virginia, and yeah, moved down here a few years ago, and I'm adjusting. It's nice. So what is your favorite thing about Pennsylvania? If you have a favorite thing about Pennsylvania. Nope. Maybe nothing? Oh, we're down to one viewer. Maybe they left. That's okay. Let's see. I think at maybe the 45-minute mark, I might get up and get some water. Feeling a little froggy, a little meh. That's what I like about it, in the weather as well. Yeah, very historic place. And yeah, I would imagine you enjoy the weather since you actually get seasons up there. It's down here we just get humid and dry. Not humid and dry. Humid and hot. Sorry. Humid and hot. Or cloudy and hot. It does get a little chilly. It's actually, as you can see, I'm wearing a sweater today. But one thing I miss about Virginia is actually having seasons. And And I know this is a very divisive thing to say, but I miss snow. I know I probably would not have that sentiment if I lived somewhere like New York or Chicago, um, but I don't. So I miss snow. Having to drive to work and it does suck, but it's pretty. It's romantic. Yeah, this is. Yeah, the neck is in the back. And this is. Oh, that's not shoulder, that's cape. Ha! That makes more sense. Wouldn't the cape be coming off of the shoulder? So I guess it's. Oh, it's a little bit lower. Neck is back here. Neck is here. Shoulder. I think I'll just end up keeping that the way it is. Because I think if I try to fix it too much, it's going to look weird. Like, weirder than it already does. So we'll just have the shoulder going kind of up like so. And then have the cape extending. Alright, this is the back side of her dress. Or the other side of the dress. Maybe it's not the models that I need to put on different layers. Maybe I just need to put this crown on its own layer as lines and shapes. Because she's not really in the way of anything that's happening here. It's just the crown. So if I can just get the hair situated properly. And then we should be cash money. Just hit me. Tomorrow is the last day of live streams. Huh. Even though there were a couple of hiccups, I did it. Will I be doing something like this anytime soon? Probably not. Because if I'm just realizing, like, I didn't give myself enough leeway for life to happen around the live streams, and that kind of messed with my schedule a little bit. Didn't really give me time for like sickness or mental health breaks. So for December, the idea is to do standard production daily draw videos. But I did get my work schedule today, and I have closing shifts for the first week, but that gives me time to draw, but not a lot of time to edit. So I'll just have to figure out what I'm going to do with that, because I do want to finish the color palette challenge this year. So I'll make it happen one way or another. Yeah, I don't need to do another layer. I just need to figure out where the puzzle pieces are falling. Because it's really not that complicated. Oh, and then the leaves on this side. Is it mirrored? It is. It is pretty much mirrored. There's one on each side. So I can just take this, copy and paste it, and warp it. So I'll take this and do a little zoop zoop. Get that. Flip that over here. And then just squish it. This is not a successful squishing. I probably have better luck just drawing it. So yeah, I'll just do that instead. Because they're appliques, and even though I'm sure the creator made the appliques the same for both sides. Well, no, they are a little different. Like they're, on the same side either way, but they're one's slightly like more like fonded out than the other one. Okay, and this is where some of the overlap is happening. So this goes down behind the crown, and then her dress starts again here. Space that out so it's not no tangents. No tangents. Just helps create clarity between shapes. You either want something spaced out or overlapping. Okay. I have a mind about how I'm going to handle the the ruffly bits as far as coloring goes. And it's going to take a little bit of color math to get it to do what I need it to do. So I am going to end up adding quite a bit of colors that I don't have in the palette to complete this. But it'll be worth it, and it'll look good. all these overlapping shapes. Let's get another layer going behind her. Yes, love the little bit of drama. As a matter of fact, even though this is, I can tell that it's shorter than what this cape actually is. I think I will go ahead and incorporate kind of a bit of this shape into the overall cape. And I want the arm to be coming through these layers. So there's going to be layers of tulle over and under and just sort of draping down to match the original design, but to incorporate it more fully into, combining both pieces. So I have a little bit of transparency here. Sitting at 38. How much time do I want to give myself for the liner? I'm almost done. Because everything else is going to be like painted in detail. To bend it so that it's not longer than the middle finger. And then this is a sort of golden laurel detail in the middle of the belt. I think it's going to be too fine for me to do lines with. I can at least imply it. That'll work. And then she's got this cuff. It's sort of mimicking the headdress shape. A little bit of the shoulder with transparency. All right, let's see how that's looking. Well, yeah, what I'm playing now is not a good example of what I listen to, since this is just whatever royalty free stuff Restream is willing to offer. I listen to pretty much anything I can enjoy. My Spotify Wrapped. There was a lot of like R&B and pop on it this year, but my Spotify in general is just like a wild mix of every genre. I have a playlist for every mood. I have an R&B playlist for when I just want to be chill. I have one that's excuse me, kind of like a more like electronic mix of like late 2010s type stuff for like it's called kitchen dance, and so it's just like, you know, a bunch of weird mix of like dance music. My top artists for the past 3, maybe 4 years on Spotify Wrapped have been Florence and the Machine, Kimbra. Isla was added to the list this year because I think I discovered her. If it wasn't this year, it was late last year. Tank and the Bangas. I know I discovered them a couple years ago, but I didn't really start listening to them like on repeat until last year, and so they ended up on my Spotify Wrapped. And so really just like a little bit of everything. Like if it sounds good, I'll listen to it. I am not one of those people who are like, ooh, I can't listen to country. Like I had a whole country phase in middle school, and I prefer older school country because the new country sounds like more pandery than storytellery, which is why I like the older country music, because it was more focused on like the story, creating the scene, so stuff like that. As far as like rappers, I'm still kind of like broadening my horizons as far as like rappers that I listen to, because I didn't really grow up listening to a lot of like modern rap. Like my dad likes hip hop, and so I grew up listening to like the OGs, like 80s and 90s hip hop. Yeah, a lot of like, oh my goodness, I love musicals. I love musical theater, that type of music. So just like a wide variety of stuff, honestly. Let's see. Oh, and I've hit the 45-minute mark. I'm going to go grab some water because I cannot stand the way my voice sounds right now, and I'm sure it sounds awful to you guys too. So I'll be right back. I'm going to grab some water, and then I'll get started on the coloring. Ah, much better. Mm. Oh, in my little Spock glass. He's the last remaining of a set of 4. They were a wedding present from one of our friends, and the sink that we used to have broke 3 of the other glasses. And I say the sink broke it because we would put the glasses in as gently as possible, and because of what the sink was made out of, they would just shatter. So Mr. Spock here is the last remaining. It was Spock, Kirk, Uhura, and just the ship itself, and it had like the schematic of the ship. So I'm upset because Uhura was my favorite glass to drink out of. Shocking, I know. Let's see. Let's set this to reference. Figure out the colorscape. There's going to be a little more color blending than there usually is. I want to make this navy to offset all of the lighter colors that are going to be in here, and then have it be a gradient of navy to frosted blue. That's a good one. So what I'll do is I'll fill in all of this, and then select it, and then nope, wrong tool, this one. Alright, so we've got the background, a nice spooky frosty situation. Oh, well, I suppose the rest of this actually needs to be that color too. I'll just sort of blend that together. Well, instead of, because these are, I think I still want to use gold. Isn't it 60s soul funk jazz? Yeah, a lot of good stuff. That's pretty much, so yeah, that's pretty much a lot of what my mom would listen to. And so there was a lot of that in the house. It's all, you can't beat the classics. I don't know if I fully thought this through. Oh, okay, you know what? This is what I'll do. Because even though she's supposed to be winter, this will be a gradient to have that sort of frosted look. And this is the darker of the two. And I can have the lining be yellow. That will work. I have a feeling this is going to be one where there's a lot of chrome coat switching. Maybe they'll both just be frosted spring, but I want this to have more blue in it. And this is also yellow. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm just going to start laying colors, and then I will clean up as I go, because I am not sure. These greens, they are distinct enough, but they're still very similar to each other too. Maybe what I'll do, I'll do this, blend it in. Goodness. And then do the detail in yellow. Although that's kind of hard to see. You can tell that there's something there breaking up that blue, even if it's not fully readable as yellow. So we'll have the underdress be this lighter green. That's part of her cape. That's going to be, these two are going to mix. So let's see, that's going to be this green with this blue. And then these layers, the best way to imitate, it needs that contrast, it needs that like punchiness. I guess it's gonna have to be the frosted blue with the yellow in the middle. Which that would end up being, the yellow would be on this tier. And then everything else would be the blue. This is dress or veil? This is veil. Well, veil cape. There's a little bit of mix happening in here. Oh, this is dress. The plant was throwing me off a little bit. Where it crosses over, it looks like it could have been the end of the cape. I mean, I suppose only if you're looking at one small section and not the entire picture. So I need this frosted green here. And it sort of ends. Yeah, so now you get the idea that there's a little bit of the dress underneath of this capey thing. I do need some shading to happen, but let's get the flats done for now. The hair and skin can be whatever color I need them to be. I think I'm going to make her hair this navy color and then give her light blue like highlights to kind of pull back some of the colors that I do have. And this also helps her look a little more wintry. Miss Spring over here, she can be blonde. We'll make that solid. I think initially this was supposed to be a gap, but it makes more sense if it's just a solid wraparound. The back cape. See, I know that this is going to be green. I know that this is going to be gold. So this is all lining. And this is also the shade of green. So that's the other side of the corset. This needs a gradient. And then I'll also do a bit of a gradient here. And just to kind of carry that frosted foliage look into the dress. I saw some gapping. Let me make this darker. Yep, there's a little gap right down here. And then I'm going to redo this. So these are the colors I need, but I need this to be anything that I don't color in here also needs to be just fully that. So I need to pick this color. I guess that's this one. So let me pick this one instead. And then just redo that. So what I can do instead is do this and this with both. Trying to get the right ratio. There we go. And then I can reference this and make sure that the marching ants are going to get the right thing. Yep. And then I can just cut out. Bada boom. Oh, I didn't catch this. I can just erase that out by hand though. Alright, now we have full coverage for what actually needs to be covered. As far as the background goes, anyway. This I'm actually going to ignore. the color palette and make these darker. Oh, I'm at an hour. Oh no. I better speed it up and get some details in. I still gotta figure out what to do with the skin and hair. It wouldn't make sense for them to be tan, but I don't want to make them so pale that, like, for example, if she was like super pale, she would just get lost in all of this white blue. Oh, let's see. What makes sense? Maybe just a little bit of pigment as a treat. And then I still have to do all of the like little pearly bits. This is a very gray skin tone. Of course, normally when you think of winter, you think of more like grays and colds, but I still want the skin to look alive. So I'm just gonna push it over, not into like jaundice territory. Let's see what this looks like. That's better. Now she actually has some blood in the flesh. Can go back in and clean that up when I get to zoom in, because I know if I put the background on now, it's gonna look mad crazy messy. But what I can do, I can just take this and 50%. Belt the yellow. I probably am still going to end up using like actual gold because the yellow is so pale, and I'll just use this like pale yellow as a highlight instead of a main color. Yeah, and then I can just do like some leaf type detail in the lighter gold. But I like that a lot better than using the pale yellow as a main color. It's just not, it's too, all of these colors with the exception of maybe this one are very close to white, um like tonally. And it's like, yes, you can obviously see that one's blue, one's green, one's yellow, but they are very samey in this regard. Matter of fact, let me just value check this real quick. Yeah, like these three are reading virtually the same, and then you have the white, which is the yellow, and then this darker green, which is like a barely darker gray. Yeah, so this is going to be gold. I'm going to go with my original design, and instead of have this blue, this is going to be gold. So that's what I wanted, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's start cleaning some of this up. And I think to do this better, I'm going to lower the opacity so I can see the lines a little bit better. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is... I'm probably going to spend a good 15-20 minutes just cleaning up the crumb coat. So if you want to leave and come back, I would not be offended at all, because there won't be anything really, like nothing progressive happening with the drawing itself outside of me just cleaning up the barriers. And I think once that's done, I'm gonna put in the beads and things just so I can get a better idea of where everyone is supposed to be placed style wise, so I can have everything from the sketch on the color layer and I won't be forgetting anything, because I know there's some stuff that it's like I can know it's on the sketch, but it just isn't present in the rest of the drawing at the moment. So I want to get that at least on screen to work with. And this is going to need some help. This is going to need a bit of a navy gradient. these little bits. All these little bits and pieces. So many nooks and crannies. Why do I do this to myself? Sitting at hour 14. So many gaps. Now the colors are mostly cleaned up. I can get started with some of the details. And silly me, I just realized that if I make her hair blonde, you're not going to be able to see the dewdrops. So, also this is blending in too much to this. Okay, so I need to change their hair. I mean, I guess I can just make her hair white and have some like blue and yellow to make it sort of luminescent. I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for, but just to give it a little bit of some pizzazz. I'll make it gray so that the highlights stand out more. And then, yeah, let's do that. So I'll make that gray, and then I'll add in white highlights. And then your hair needs to be, because the pearls are going to be all of like this icy blue color. I mean, I guess I could just give her red hair, but like what feels like spring? Maybe more like a mousy taupe. Whoops. Okay, so I'm gonna take this color, put a little bit more orange in it, and a little bit more gray. Yeah, that feels more wintry. I like that. And now you'll also be able to see the little pearly details that are going to go in there. Because otherwise it would have just blended right in. Because I think I can still get away with using the that blonde yellow as a highlight on her hair. Let's see what it looks like. So if I do like a rim lighting type situation. That's too much of a difference. The only way it would look like that is if there was yellow lighting, and the lighting is blue, so we're not going to do that. Okay. This is the lines. Let me label that so I don't turn off the wrong layer when I'm looking to see what needs to be hidden and what needs to be visible. And then I'm going to add a new layer. I'm just going to call this Deco. Let me see. And do this as a auto outline. Let's get that. It's like it's like this color. Alright, so I'm going to turn this off. Turn my sketch back on. Okay, so now I can see all the little extra bits that need to be added in. And I need this blue, I'm pretty sure. So I know I need the blue for this. And then I'll need the gold. We'll probably end up using the yellow. And instead of doing auto outline, I'll see what looks better. I'll do both and see what looks better for the piping in the crown bit. My only concern is that because of the brush I'm using, if it's going to look too smooth compared to the original line art. But I think at a distance, I don't know if it'll be as noticeable. And then she also had, let me make this smaller. So they both have this sort of pearl detail coming down from their headpieces. Kind of supposed to be like, again, either dewdrops or falling snow. And then these little side pieces here are actually that. It is a little helpful that I've got the line here, just so that it kind of fills in the space just a little bit better. And I can keep some of the original texture from the rest of the line art. Alright, and then everything else was going to be painted on. Yeah, this is pretty. I don't know why I said that like I'm surprised. I mean, sometimes I do surprise myself with like, oh, like, I can draw. I can make things that are pleasant to look at. Because even though I've been drawing for, well, I shouldn't say drawing. I've been creating art in all of its umbrella, all of its facet for, how old am I now? I'm not going to say that out loud. Let's say doing art seriously about 16 to 20 years. Well, yeah, because the first time I entered something into a contest, I couldn't have been any more than 9 or 10. So, yeah, it's been a rocky road. Sometimes things will just fall into place. Sometimes I have a day where like I can't even pick the right colors. Just ebbs and flows. Now I'm pretty sure I cleaned these colors up. Why are there still so many crumbs? Just crumbs all over the canvas. It's just these itty bitty spaces. How am I zoomed in? I'm at 100%. So yeah, I don't need to zoom in any further. So whatever I see, whatever pops out, that's an actual issue. If I don't see it at this level, then it's nitpicking. But there are still some pretty big crumbs here. Alright, I'm going to zoom out. I think I'll go ahead and do the gold detail. Yeah, the pearls are almost barely visible here, but it's a nice little, you can tell there's something there breaking that up. So I'll do the gold, and then I'll do their makeup. I don't think I'll do any sort of lighting situation. I think I like it just as it is, kind of this vignette. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I don't know, man. If I ever use a word wrong or like just use the wrong word in general, please let me know. I am not someone who gets defensive when it comes to like knowing my limitations in knowing things. But if it's something small, like, you know, like it's not such a serious thing. Like, I'm not using a big term in the wrong way, like an important term. Oh, I'm still finding crumbs. My goodness. Okay, back away, back away. I'm at 1:30. All right, I have 30 minutes. Oh no. Although I did spend 5 of those minutes just rambling in the beginning, so maybe I will give myself just a little extra time if I need it. But we'll see where I am. I have no idea what I'm doing with this belt. Oh, well, you know what? Let's do this instead. Because everything has a little leafy motif, so I'm going to give it a little leafy motif. And that'll be easy enough to just do with, like if I do this, I need to make that squiggle a little stronger. Like a little more swooshy. Not that swooshy. That's there. And then do the same on this side. I think I can fit 1, 2, I don't know, only 2. But I can still get some leaves up here. Let's make that a little bit thinner. And then I can put some, I don't know if it really translates to leaf. Kind of. I'll make this a little bit smaller. Winter, it should be branches and not leaves. But I think this is prettier. And there are still leaves in winter. You know, not as many, but they're there. Get a little bit of this, and a little bit of this. And then the middle. I can make it kind of like a frosty mirror situation. If I take this, get those edges, and then use my gouache brush, like so. Yeah, just make it sort of like a frosty something or other. I don't know. Kind of looks like a creepy mouth. Let's make that glossy instead. So I'm going to color this in fully. And then we're going to just take white and do some gloss lines and a little bit of frost. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but actually that's really hard to see. And now it kind of looks more like a stone of some sort than just like a weird hollow in her belt. Alright, back to the gold. Actually, you know what? I want to see what it looks like if I just kind of dry brush on some gold first. And then do a sharp line with my painter brush. Can't call it a round brush because that's not what it is. Okay, this has it's like a little bit like this. No, the actual crown is much more complex. But I have 30 minutes left. So I'm going to try to get this get some detail on there. Just enough to get it finished. A lot of these are like just kind of ideas that I can come back to and refine. Yeah, this is a good, like, starting place for, you know, if I wanted to kind of spend more time and really, like, focus on what kind of details the source has. And then, kind of recreate those in this little doodle. Because it's like, it's nowhere as, you know, crazy as this is here, but the shape is similar enough. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to test out doing this in 2 ways. And I think this is going to work. Originally, I was thinking of just doing a separate layer and just painting on it. But I kind of like how you still have the thin lines in there by doing it on the deco layer. It just makes it feel more unified with the piece overall. And she's got some going out like this and like this. Yeah, so this way you can kind of, it's got that same effect to it. No. No, that one got away from me. I'll leave it alone. Oh, this wasn't erased. And this wasn't colored in. I have 20 minutes. I still need to do the makeup. I guess I'll do some sort of snowdrift in the background. Turn the sketch back off, so I think I've done everything I need to do there. And I'll do a few peaks in on her crown as well. Like a light dawn. Kind of the sleepy sunrise comes between winter and spring. Except for this is messy. Let's clean that up a little bit. Alright, let's do a little frost in the hair, just because I think that would be cute. It's gonna be this blue. me see if I have enough. This should be good enough. Enough to finish the stream. Oh, and then her hair needs to be white and blue. But I guess I can just use, this blue is close enough to a white that I can use that. This. And then do a little bit of watercolor brush on the back end with the gray. So I don't want to add any more blue than I already have. I want to blend it back in and then use the yellow on the edges to give it a little bit of light back into it. And then I'll blend that in as well with the watercolor brush. So it just makes it a little more interesting. And then in other places I can just use pure white, and I can use that gray to separate some of the lights, like so. And then I'll keep the darkest parts, the dark gray. See, now it has like a bit of like a, almost did like a oily rainbow sheen, but it's white instead of like black and purple and green. Now what to do with you? The dresses still need a lot of work. I've got 15 minutes. I guess I can just do something on the deco layer, but it needs some layers of dimension too. I need some shading on the dresses. That's what needs to happen. Pick this and pick this nice bright but cool blue and just start working on, let's do it as a multiply. I'll set it down to 75. And maybe 65 would be better. Let's see with that. 75 is still a little juicy, and I want this to be a bit more as if it's normal. Normal is actually, yeah, that's too dark. So we'll keep it at 65. Okay. And I'm going to take the marching ants off and just add it in, kind of slap it in where it needs to go, and then I'll refine it as necessary. Just crumb coating. Using cool shading because this is a cooler themed picture. If this were, midday or whatever, it would be using like either an orange or a yellow. But it is not the situation. So that's not what we're doing. Let's use the oil brush for this. This, I actually don't mind it being a little more jagged and abstract. I just kind of want the big ideas of the shapes to be in there, which is like really hard to do random, but like intentionally. It's hard to do that well. But like this is good because this is really sharp here. And this can just be blended out like this because this is a soft, thick fabric. Same for this. Most of this is going to end up being just kind of thrown to the wind a little bit. I still didn't do the details on the bracelet. I have 10 minutes left. Ooh, I'm gonna have to go over. That's okay, because like I said, I spent about 5 minutes at the top of the stream just chatting about plans and the color palette and the inspiration and where that all comes from. But yeah, this is definitely a more fast and dirty shading than anything that's like really accurate. shading on the skin. Oh my goodness. Time just got away from me on this one. I don't have a lot of time off stream today to work on this one like some of the other ones that I've had to finish off stream, because today, normally it's Thursday, but today is D&D. So fortunately I'm not GMing. Today I am playing and I'm not GMing, so I don't have any prep to do, aside from I'm in charge of making dinner, so gotta get that put together. Enough to feed 6 people. So that takes a little bit of time. So if I can get this finished now instead of having to come back to it later, that would be pretty cool. I haven't done anything with the makeup. I know I keep saying I'm gonna come back to it. Blend that out. And a little bit of turn this off so I can see what's happening. Lips. Well, the lips are not going to be. Kind of looks like. It doesn't look like an open mouth, but I feel like it's more open mouth than not. So I will just make her lips the same color as her blush. Make it a bit easier on myself. Let's do a little bit of shading in here, under the brow, here behind the little pearl doodad, little here. Still didn't help. Oh. 5 minutes left. Oh, the bracelets! I need gold on the bracelets. Let's do a dry brush. And then a little spot treatment. Alright, you... Well, actually, you still need eyes, too. Good enough. And you... I guess I'll make your makeup green since you're Little Miss Spring. Little Miss Sunshine. Interesting movie, that. Maybe I'll give her a blue highlighter, kind of like a very frosted look. Do I like this? It's cute. It's giving highlighter. You know what? Maybe I should. Or if I make this more like a dark berry, like a dark winter berry. That's better. Need just a little bit of drama. Let's turn the shading back on. Now the blue almost looks like a white. Because it's very close to white anyway, but it has like that reflective, snowy quality to it. Well, homegirl up here still needs some shading too. Got 2 minutes left. I think I can do it. Turn off my references. So I don't need that anymore. However, oh, okay. There was a detail that I forgot in the coloring that is in the shading. So I need one more layer. Let me go ahead and finish the shading and then I can worry about, because this is going to have like a secondary mesh and I think I'm going to do it in this like midnight blue, but with just big transparent shapes so it looks like tulle. Alright, where is your shading going to be? Mainly in here. A little bit of detail here. I'll have some in the cape. Have some variation here. And this is just going to be a crumb coat shading. And I'll refine it once I get everything blocked out like I did for the other character, which I should have just done it all in one swoop. But I'm kind of working on one and then worrying about the other. So the light's kind of coming from this direction. Get a little shading under this layer. A little bit of weight in the fabric. Cut into this a little bit. Soften these edges. This edge can stay sharp. This one's going to be a little bit softer. I'm going to keep this shape here because I like the way that little bit looks. Just going to cut into this just a little bit. Create a little more volume in the hair. Now we need just a little bit of volume in the skirt. Just anywhere where there's a bit of heaviness. I don't think I've saved a single time since I started. Alright, save now. At the end of stream. It just gives it a bit of weight and dimension. Yeah, not a bad start. So I am at the end of 2 hours. As far as whether or not I'm done, I still have to do, I guess, the mesh skirt here. Well, you know what? I'll just go a little bit longer. It's gonna take me like 2 seconds to do it. I say it's gonna take me forever. But here's hoping. So what I want to do. So I'm gonna do this at 50's too dark. Let's do 30. Yeah, sweet under multiply, but over sweet limeade. So I'm just gonna take. Oh, no, we'll do this instead. And then I can just cut the arm out. And the fill is going to be at. Let's see if that does it. No, it does not. So I gotta do it this way. And then I'm just gonna keep creating shapes, layers. This is a little crunchier than I would like it to be. And then of course also I need to erase out here where the hand is. Take the water off. See, what I miss about GIMP is that you used to be able to do this without having to hide, or like without having to do it on this. There was just a different way to do it. Like, the way I used to do it is that I would hide the layer that I was working on, and because of GIMP's programming, see how there's this red X now? I can't work on it because it can't see it. With GIMP, that wasn't a problem. I could hide the layer and then just erase without being distracted by the things that were around it. And Clip, a more advanced program, doesn't have that capability. Seems weird, but okay. So now I just have to try to catch everything that I can on the different layers. Here. I don't like that. It's such a heavy outline. And then what I'll do with this is cut some light back into it with my watercolor brush. And that should take care of any like excessive weirdness that's happening with the shapes. Because I can do that and blend it back down. Oops. Now, of course, you can tell that I've added in an extra color to this color palette. But, like with most of these color palettes, it's been necessary. Well, yeah, because most of them I've added either white or black or a gray version of whatever color is available. But I think I did an okay job. Do I want to rate this now, or do I want to wait until I'm done and I do the big color palette challenge review at the end of the year? I think if I was going to give this a grade right now, just coming fresh off of working on it, let me give it a B- to a C+. Like, it's not garbage, but I know that I can spend another like hour or two working on it and just kind of refining things and making things a little bit better. Like, there's still details that I could add to the dress, but for now I am going to put this in my back pocket and call it done. because I think I was actually able to execute the idea that I had in my head pretty well. Like, this is pretty much what I wanted to do, sans any other fun little bits and bobs that I'm going to add at a later date. So that is the end of today's stream. So yeah, tomorrow is the last live stream, and I will be streaming in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, for the last stream. And then for December, I will be doing traditional shuffle style videos for the color palette challenge. And yeah, so that's all I have for you guys today.